teenager, 26 years old. I see not a lot of people here, but not a lot of non-Asian people here. And that's a problem. I think what's really new moving forward is within our own communities and with our neighbors who don't look like us. We need to promote healing, acceptance, and education so we can form stronger bonds, because it's no secret that there is a large divide between marginalized people.
I shouted for help, but nobody helped me, so I put my hands on my face. I saw the blood oozing.
Asian and Pacific Islander Americans are facing a surge of attacks in the U.S. The rise in violence has sparked fear within the AAPI community. We went to New York City, where police data shows there's been a 1,900% increase in hate crimes against Asians.
You need to leave an Asian piece of shit.
Racism against Asian Americans isn't new, so what is causing the rise of attacks? Do we know if all of these attacks are racially motivated?
We do not know that, but look, they are unprovoked.
Rallies have been held across the country to highlight the urgency of the issue.
Justice for Asians!
This is a story of how Asian Americans are finding solidarity in one another despite a wave of attacks.
所以我的心里很不高兴，我一想到他们，我的心就放下一点。We will be invisible no more. We will speak up. And we say that we are American too.
You're looking at the face of a Filipino-American man who was slashed while standing on a train to work.
That was Wednesday, February 3rd, and about 8 o'clock, I was at the L train. I stood there quietly. A man came, and stood beside me. He started kicking my bag. He came towards me. I thought he's going to punch me, but when I didn't feel anything, I saw his hand with a boxer cutter. I shouted for help, but nobody helped me.
Noel is still unsure what motivated the attack. The police have not called it a hate crime.
I don't know if it is because of the banning. I really don't know because I'm Asian. I have no idea. So sorry. Well, I am good, but it's not just like me. If it's just me, it's okay. But I also live with other people, you know.
Noel considers himself lucky. He's mourning for the victims who have not survived, like this 84-year-old Thai man who died 2 days after an attack on his regular morning walk. Since the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020, more than 2,800 self-reported accounts of violent and non-violent anti-Asian hate were recorded by a rights group. It's widely believed the spike in racist attacks is due to Donald Trump's rhetoric on coronavirus.
Kung flu!
But the reality is more complicated than that. It's difficult to pinpoint one root cause for the surge in attacks, but some say a combination of the rhetoric blaming Asians, particularly during the pandemic, along with the ease of recording and sharing these attacks, has contributed to making the issue more visible. We spoke to Representative Judy Chu, who says racism against Asians in the U.S. goes far beyond Trump's presidency.
Of course, we have a very long history in this country, going all the way back to the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882.
It was the first legislation to bar immigration of an ethnic group. Yet, Asian Americans have played an indispensable role in building the country.
The Chinese Americans were responsible for the Transcontinental Railroad from the West Coast to Utah.
It's being called a hate crime assault, causing more pain in our Asian American community. That awful video showing a woman being brutally beaten while others stood by and just did nothing. But overnight, some relief, police announcing a new arrest in the case. And I want to warn you, the video you're about to see is disturbing. Overnight, police in New York City arresting the man they say was caught on surveillance video, brutally attacking a 65-year-old Asian woman in Midtown Manhattan. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Brandon Elliott, now charged with felony assault as a hate crime. He's accused of violently kicking the woman to the ground and stomping on her head, all while shouting anti-Asian statements, according to police. The attacker then seen walking away as security guards in a nearby building stand and watch.
The most painful part of that video was watching that man close the door on that woman. And I hope that as a country, we don't do the same thing.
The Biden administration now launching new efforts to curb the growing violence, committing nearly $50 million to help AAPI survivors of violence and assault, and $33 million towards studying bias and xenophobia. Attorney General Merrick Garland also announcing the Justice Department will conduct an expedited 30-day review, prioritizing criminal investigations and prosecutions. The disturbing wave of anti-Asian violence in all corners of the country has law enforcement experts concerned about copycat incidents.
There are those who are out there doing it because they're seeing others do it, because it's getting the attention that it's been getting, and that is contributing to the numbers of crimes that we're seeing.
But on the ground, young leaders in local communities are speaking out, fueling new hope.
I learned that we can make a difference.
Like 12-year-old Korean-American Mina Fedor, who organized a rally here in California, bringing more than 1,000 people together to demonstrate against anti-Asian hate.
It is unfair that it is happening, and yeah, it makes me very sad and upset about this. And yeah, I just wanted to do something.
What's your goal? What's your hope?
Raising awareness, also raising youth voices for them not to be afraid to stand up for themselves and other people.
Now, in all of this hate, Mina was just so inspiring to talk to. She told me she first started organizing last year after a family member of her was coughed on in public. She wanted to do something to make a difference. And meanwhile, in New York, the management of that apartment building where the attack occurred, they say the staffers who witnessed it and stood by and did nothing have now been suspended pending an investigation.